Hi everyone! Okay, so as you can see by the title, today's video is going to be my favourite eyeshadow palettes. I don't have heaps of eyeshadow palettes, but I've tried out a few and obviously I prefer some over others. So I'll start off by saying, I'll talk about its pigmentation, how it blends, colour range, price range, etc. And then the ones that I talk about last, so the ones that I talk about at the end of this video will be my favorite ones. So there's two that I consider my all-time holy grail palettes I can't live without, so I'll just pop them over there and then I'll talk about the other one. Anyways, that's for a whole other video, so if you want to know my favorite palettes, keep on watching. So the first palette I'm going to talk about today is the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. Now this was my first ever high-end eyeshadow palette. It's probably the first high-end product I ever got, really. So Chocolate Bar is that one. I'm sure everyone's really familiar with it, and it smells so obviously one of its perks is that it smells like chocolate. Now I don't know about you guys, but makeup and its scents, it means a lot to me. Now if something has a really off scent, I will tend to stay clear of it. Now eyeshadows usually don't have heaps of scent unless they smell like this. One's like vanilla. The Tartelette palette smells like, kind of smells like vanilla and chocolate as well, but obviously Chocolate Bar smells like chocolate, and it's absolutely amazing, and it makes such a difference to me because it's like, anyway. So in terms of the colour range, it does have a lot of mattes and shimmers, and there is a lot of browns in this palette, hence it being called Chocolate Bar. I think this is a really good palette to start off with, and I'm happy it was one of the first ones that I bought, just because when I was first starting out, and when a lot of people are first starting out, it's better to just experiment with browns and nudie colours, because it's just more a little timid and you're in a comfort zone, and then obviously you branch out into all sorts of other colours. But this one's got your browns, your shimmers, and then it's got the light baby pink, and then it's got that purple also, and this is kind of like a champagne pink. In terms of the eyeshadow quality, that I found that the eyeshadows in this palette are super good. The shimmers are incredible, super pigmented. You pop them on the lid just like that, and super good. They blend quite well. Not as good as some other eyeshadows that I'll be talking about later, but super well regardless. Blend really well. Like I said, it's quite a basic palette because it's just got a lot of browns and nude shades, but it is great, and I think that for anyone who's starting out with makeup or just wants something that's got a lot of nice brown shades, then this is definitely something to go for first. I'm trying to think of how much I got this for. So in Australia I got this at Mecca Maxima because it's the only place that you can get Too Faced products in Australia. I'm trying to think how much it was. Anyway, all of the prices of each palette I talk about will be in the description. I've got the worst memory. I can't remember any prices of anything. But I will leave it all down below. But yeah, first one, Chocolate Bar by Too Faced. Great palette. These palettes are so popular among Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Everyone wants to have one of these. This is the Morphe 350, and I completely understand why everyone wants one of these. So the Morphe 350 palette is a palette that's full of warm reds, warm oranges, warm brown shades, and a lot of nude champagne shades. It has 35 shades, and this retails for 36 AUD when you order it from Beauty Bay. Now a lot of my products have been ordered off Beauty Bay because we can't literally get anything here in Australia. So this was brought from Beauty Bay for 36 AUD. Anyways, onto the shadows. So for the price you pay $36, so that's 35 shadows, so it's almost $1 per shadow. That's insane. They are incredible quality. For something so cheap, for that quantity, it's crazy how good they are. I feel like this is a really good palette to start off with when you're wanting to do something a little bit different with your makeup in terms of colours, because reds and oranges look incredible on everyone, and I think everyone should try them out because they're just, oh, I keep like flicking the palette, I'm going to whack myself in the head. So the pigmentation is great. As I said, I just dipped my finger like in that orange accidentally. Like, I hardly touched that. It's crazy, and it's super cheap. Like, and then when you like, you know, amazing. It is amazing. So the palette is full of like really pigmented shadows. I've used a fair few. I wouldn't say I've used every single shade, but I have used most of like the warmer reds. I've used basically all of them. I just haven't had a chance to use all of the different browns because there is a lot of different types of browns and like that whole section. But they are really easy to blend and work with. I don't find that they come all together, you know, when you're blending them. They're all really different, and it creates such a flawless look. And I think for the amount that you pay for them, I'm not sure how much they are in the UK or Europe, the US, wherever, anywhere else in the world. I don't know how much they retail for, but for here, $36 for this is like mind blown. So this is great. This is a great palette. Amazing. This palette has a mixture of both mattes and shimmers. Morphe have released a full shimmer and full matte. Maybe one day in the future I will dabble and get both, but at the moment I quite like the selection here, and I quite like having a palette that's got both the mattes and shimmers. And I'm not really more matte or more shimmer. Sometimes I feel like I'm more shimmer than matte, but I quite like this palette because it's got a mixture of both, and it can make both people happy. And at least that way you don't need to buy two separate palettes for when you can just buy the one. Okay, so the next palette is the IT Cosmetics Naturally Pretty. Now, I'll start off just by saying this. I haven't really spoken about packaging prior to this. I really don't like the packaging of this. I think it's pretty. It is pretty. But this palette and another palette I will be showing later on have a velvet texture. Now, this is not going to cater to everybody's needs, but I personally hate the feeling of velvet. Like, touching it right now is really, it's just one of those things that, you know, like those people like hate like scratching on the chalkboard sort of thing. It's kind of like that to me. It makes me like quiver. Any type of like velvet texture things, I'm just like, can't do it. Anyways, but that's just that. So I'm like holding it. So when you open up this palette, you've got the mirror, fabulous. It's really, I feel like a really old school type packaging. When I first saw this, I was like, hey, that looks like something you would have bought years ago. It's kind of like, but it's cute. Okay, so when you open it up, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Got 15 shadows here. Let me just start off by saying that I was pleasantly surprised by the quality of these eyeshadows. So this palette is probably the most pigmented palette ever. You will touch your brush into any shade, the formula is so consistent, any shade at all, and it will be like your whole eye. Say if I dipped into Sunset, which is like that really pretty red, if I dipped into Sunset, it would like be all over my lid in like a second. It just is so unbelievably pigmented, and it blends like butter. There is a lovely versatile range of shades in this palette. It's got warm shades, got like a warm orange, a warm red, pinks, mauve colours, browns, like a navy blue, violets, you know, it's got a black, and it's got a transforming pearl, which is kind of like a champagne-y white. It literally has everything. This at Sephora costs $64 in Australia. $64 is quite good price range. I'm not, like, for me, like for people who live in Australia, $64 is like amazing for like a slightly high-end product. So yeah, this palette is incredible. It's basically all matte. There's no shimmer shades in this. There might be like some satin finish mattes, but they're basically all matte, which is fabulous. For people who prefer just matte shades and want to have a palette that's just got a lot of versatile colours, but that they're mattes, then this is definitely one that you should look into getting. Okay, the second last palette I'll be talking about today is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance. Now, like I was just talking about the cosmetics, this one also has that velvet texture. What I forgot to mention with the cosmetics is that it gets really dirty easily. I've only had this one for about a month and it's already getting quite dirty. The cosmetics I've had for a while and it's really dirty because it's really hard to maintain the cleanliness of these. They just attract so much mess, and if something like powder falls on it, just goes awful. Now let's open it up, and the brush just flipped out. Here it is. Now this palette does look really similar to, in terms of its setup, it looks really similar to the cosmetics one. There goes my phone. This palette is really similar looking to the cosmetics one, however there's really no similarities on the inside. This, as it says, is a really gorgeous neutral berry toned cranberry palette. Now Anastasia eyeshadows are probably the best on the market, and it's not just me saying that. Out of everything I've tried, so I've tried Urban Decay, Too Faced, Tarte, Makeup Geek, MAC, and out of everything, this palette, it's just like, I didn't even swatch, I just touched that, and like the colour payoff is insane. Now, this was my first ever palette or any type of eyeshadow using by Anastasia, and I was so pleasantly surprised at how incredible it was. Like, I know people used to be like, it's like the best eyeshadow on the market. It literally is the best eyeshadow on the market at the moment. So anyway, back onto the palette. So there is a mixture of mattes and shimmers in this. So there's two like shimmers, and then you've got like those satiny finish, and then you've got mattes. Now, if like me, you are someone who is absolutely obsessed with the berry trend at the moment, like myself, I would love anything berry, anything red, anything orange. I'll throw it on the lid and it's like amazing. It's like the best thing ever. So for me, this palette is just incredible. It's got everything. It's got your nudes, oranges, reds, browns. It's kind of got like a taupey color, shimmers. Primavera is like the prettiest shimmer ever. I'm dying for it. But this palette retails for, again, this was bought off Beauty Bay. I'm just looking off my phone to see how much it was. This one was $68. So it's a bit on the pricier side for me, because it is obviously it's $68. However, all of these palettes were kind of high end, so they all cost a fair bit. But for its price, this is incredible. Like, I can't even. I was speechless. When I first used it, I was speechless. Like, I couldn't believe how beautiful. Like, I know people said it was incredible, but it is incredible. So I would probably say that this is, at the moment, my favourite eyeshadow palette. I do have one more to talk about that. They're kind of like on the same level, but only because I love the eyeshadows in the other palette. I will talk about it in a second. But yeah, that's the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance. Love it. Now, but the last, but obviously not the least, is the Makeup Geek Manny MUA palette. Now, I have been a Makeup Geek fan for so long. I've never actually got anything just because it's so hard and pricey for us to get it here in Australia. But Makeup Geek, Marlena, I used to watch Marlena like when I was super young, and it was just something that inspired me so much to love makeup, and having this palette it meant so much to me, obviously more than just the eyeshadow palette. It just meant a lot to me to finally have something by Makeup Geek, because I've always wanted it. Anyway, so I got this for my birthday, and although I had heard amazing things about Makeup Geek, I didn't know what to expect, and all I can say is that I was impressed, like really impressed. I would say this is it's like really a hard toss up for me between the Modern Renaissance and this palette. I love them both so much. I have had this one for longer, so I feel like I kind of have a little bit of more attachment to it than the Modern Renaissance. But in terms of quality, the Anastasia ones are tiny bit better. Like, I can't even say it because it's just like a tiny bit. Anyway, onto this palette. So this is, I've spoken about this so much on my channel. This is just amazing. This is the Manny MUA palette. A palette Manny MUA collabed with Makeup Geek. This is the inside of it. On the back of it, it has the shades. Anyway, so I'll start off by saying my favourite eyeshadow shade in the whole entire world, of everything I've ever tried, is Luna, which is that shade there. It is a shimmery dark rose gold. It is my favourite eyeshadow palette. Now, eyeshadow in general, and I'm not just, you know, I don't just love this eyeshadow palette because of one shade, but it does mean a lot to me because I've never found a shadow that I'm just like so in love with, and I really love that. Anyway, so at the moment this palette is limited edition and it's looking at leaving the market really soon. Manny and Makeup Geek have posted about its departure really soon, which is really sad. And I don't know how to feel because I don't know how long this is going to last me. I have used it a ton. I'm trying to just suss out how much I've used, but I can't really tell. Anyway, so again, this has duochrome shimmers. It's got just normal shimmers, and then it's got your mattes. Now, this palette is just so unique as it's got so many different shades. It's got your mattes and the shimmers and all that. But the shades are just so unique in their own way, and they go so well together, and you can create so many looks just with one palette. That's why when I ever see like people like, oh, if you could only take one eyeshadow palette or only choose one eyeshadow palette, I would say this one, because although the shades, some of the shades are crazy and like a little bit more out there, there are so many looks that you can create with just these 9 shades, and it's insane. These blend like butter. The pigmentation is unreal. Makeup Geek shadows are incredible, and just the colours in this palette are just, they're just beautiful. So this one retails for 59 AUD, which is 45 USD. I know this because we've been doing a lot of searching recently about how much these cost, because they're going to be off the market. So looking at purchasing a few to stock up for life. These palettes are incredible. I think Manny and Makeup Geek did a beautiful job, and I really hope that somehow, I know it's not going to happen, but somehow this doesn't disappear. I just want it to stay forever, just so I know I have it with me. But I'm probably going to say this is my favourite eyeshadow palette. I know I was just saying them on a Renaissance, but just now that I'm talking about it and looking at it, it just makes me so happy looking at it. So the Makeup Geek Manny MUA palette is my favourite makeup palette at the moment. As of right now, I'm making the decision and putting my foot down. This is it. Everyone needs this palette. It's just a must. Everyone needs it. It's got so much versatility in it. I don't even know if that's a word, but we'll just say it is. So much versatility within it, and it's just incredible, and I love it so much. But with that is the end of this video. I hope you all enjoyed it. It's something a little bit different to what I usually would do. I really enjoyed talking about it, and it made me feel really sentimental talking about my favourite palettes. If you agree with me or disagree with me on any of these palettes, I'd love to know, so let me know. And yeah, thank you for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon. Bye!